What are the circumstances surrounding your impeachment?
Impeachment where?
And from Kofto.
No, there's no impeachment. You see, as I told you, I explained to you that in terms of SEC, because SEC is the one which administers between when there is no national conference or delegates conference, every SEC is composed of 4 representatives of unions. So in Kofto, since we have 11 unions, it means that the SEC is composed of 4 representatives, the general secretary of the union, national chairman, woman leader, and treasurer. So we have, it means that if you have a SEC, you must have 44 members plus the executive board. So maybe about 50, because some of the members double their general secretary, but also in the executive committee. Now, what happened of recent, we had some 3 unions out of the 11. That is the artisans of my brother Wanyama. We had this one of the science teachers of my brother Alon and Mugaiga, and we had another one of Keno. That's so you have those 3. They decided to claim that they are working with someone who was also saying that he was a chairman general because he had contested and had a petition, and then they said they are holding a SEC. Now that was, of course, was illegal in the sense that 3 unions cannot form, because out of 7, after 11, if you affiliate them, it means they are remaining 8. So the 8. We even continued our meetings and we even had resolution. So you cannot have 3 unions, and because then you bring all your national, the NEC members of the 3 unions, because you want to have numbers, and you cannot become a SEC of Kofto, because the SEC of Kofto must have even a quorum. So if you have 3 unions and bring your SEC, I mean you bring members of the NEC, but out of those members, only the 4 who are ordinarily members of SEC the other side. So 4 times 3, that is like 12. Now, you cannot yourself call a meeting and say that you are trying, first of all, the membership, that would not be a membership for SEC. But secondly, all meetings of a center are called by the Secretary General. So if I have not called the meeting, then your meeting is illegal. Then number 3, according to the Labor Unions Act, all members who are not subscribing they cannot participate in the election. Now, unfortunately, these 3 unions, they are being sort of raising issues, and they stopped subscribing. I don't know for what reason. So even they are not members, because some of them are not supposed for over a year, some others 2 years. So even if the 12 who are supposed to be members of the SEC cannot participate in our election. In fact, when they have been coming to our meetings, they have been not electing. I mean, you are like, they are attending, but if you want to do a strict legal procedure, you put them in attendance, and you even put in the minutes that we had the members from this one who have attended, but because they are not supposed to be they are not voting. So even when they are in a meeting, so that they don't throw out your decisions that there were some members who attended illegally. We were not counting them. So those are the members who purported that they were having a SEC to remove me. So there was no impeachment, because whatever I was doing was the narrative was just an. So
the meeting was illegal. Illegal. The participants were illegal. And then the other circumstance also which caused it also, which is also questionable. They were like being hired, because what happened was that in this NSSF, the current dynamics, I played a key role in terms of trying to, because as a member of the board we had been having issues, and we decided that we should have investigation, and this thing was polarized. Certainly, other members had a school of thought that we should not do investigations. Others had a school of thought that we should do investigation but appoint the MOD. Others, like me, had the school of thought that we should first of all investigate before we really appoint. Now, this thing brought a lot of aspects, to the extent that when we had the final meeting with the president, in that meeting I was the only board member who said we should go for investigation, and the president agreed with me. Now, when we came out, this thing brought a lot of unhappiness, and that's when, remember, this meeting with the president was in December 2nd. Remember, it was around Christmas time, the first when there was a lot of narrative, you know, in terms of in the press, and so the information started leaking out, and then the issue was there was a thinking that myself and the minister, who is the current minister for labor, and also that we are having a conspiracy to appoint him, the current MOD, the acting. Yeah. So there was that thinking. So there was a lot of mobilization against us, myself, trying to talk about many things. You have seen how even in the matter of the 6 billion has missed, also spin, and also
many things, trying to demonize me, trying to blackmail me. So that was the type of thing. So because of that, we also discovered that these people, the ones who I said they had that the meeting they called SAGA, they're also being funded by certain forces within this type of NSSF to make sure that they can blackmail me, so that I look as if I don't have a constituency. Certainly my activities in NSSF board are like put a question mark on them, because if you're a member of the board and your members are calling you, that's why you find that that thing was highly funded, that small meeting, even in terms of the publicity, you know, the terms of media like you and others, you know, they make sure that there was a lot of sort of funding and all that to make sure that there's a lot of mobilization, that even the social media trying to say Dr. Lyomoki is no longer what, but it was real, that type of thing, which for me I think it was the anti-workers, because if we are pushing for, you saw what the way the results have come out of the NSSF board in investigation. So if I'm saying there should be investigations, and then other part trying to mobilize to make me look as if my constituents are against me, I have no moral salt, and what that becomes really maybe I don't want to use the word mercenary, because these are brothers, but the only challenge they have is that they have not subscribed. Two is that they are out of coffee. They are on about 3 unions. Even when even the law says if the Secretary General has not called a meeting, yes, that's the third. You can solicit, but solicit votes you must be 2/3 of the members. For which they were not members. They are not. Yeah, they are not members. But second, if they are members, they were not 2/3. You see, so they had. So first of all, they are not members, so they cannot even. They are 0 members. But secondly, even if they are members, 3 unions out of 11 cannot be 2/3. Okay. Yeah. So you can see that from all angles there is a problem. But also the worst part of it is that even when we called the meeting in SAGA, we invited them because they were saying Dr. Lyomoki has not called SAGA to explain issues. We invited and they refused to come. So you find, and then they are being funded. So you find that from all angles, it's like maybe the word I will use, maybe Kiganda word into kulemesa. Let us try to spin the whole thing, use the cough too, and try to get people, use them, and then they said Dr. Lyomoki has been thrown out, and then it is highly publicized. Okay. Yeah, that was the type of scheme. So yes. Now, Doctor, yes. Now we want. It is quite interesting indeed. Yes, yes. But now, when we were starting, you said SAGA provided that it would sit twice annually. Yes. Has this been achieved all along for the past years? Actually, for the past years, SAGA has been sitting sometimes 6 times. We have all the minutes. SAGA has been sitting more than. I don't have a year where we sat less than 6 times. Yes, because we have been sitting almost sometimes 2 months, sometimes in a month. Like if you look at like for instance, there is that question about nomination to the board. To the board of NSSF. In NSSF, we had a meeting of the SAGA. This meeting was, I think, about 27. We had the executive board. What we always do, we have executive board and then the SAGA, because the way the whole procedure of the union is, you get the main document for discussion is what is called Secretary General's report, but the Secretary General's report comes from the Secretariat. So you consolidate all the issues, then you take them to the executive board, they are discussed, and then you take them to the Executive Council. So in the year 2021, we had several meetings of SAGA, maybe 3 or 4 before, and then we had and because SAGA sits twice a year, we had the ordinary meeting, because we have what I call emergency. So we had an ordinary meeting in July. That was on 27th of July, and we even have the minutes for that. We had the executive board on 26th and 27th. We had the SAGA. Now during that period, the membership of the board was expiring in August of that year. So SAGA, before that, about 2 weeks earlier, the chairman general at that time alerted the secretary that which board was expiring? The NSSF board. NSSF board. So we said now the SAGA sits twice a year. We'll start about 3-4 times this year, and this is almost will be the last time in July. Why can't we? The ordinary meeting. The ordinary meeting. So and the nominations are going to we need the board of the NSSF is expiring in end of August. So like in a month's time, the board is, so a process was started to say why can't we have our members nominated, and our nomination, this was the 5th time we had been nominating. We nominated in the 8th board, 9th board, 10th. Now this was 11th. No, 12. So we had nominated 8th, 9th, 10th. So this was the number 5. Because we started nominating from the 8th, 9, 10, 11. So we had already nominated the same method. And that was the one we were submitting the names as secretary. Because the procedure that you meet, the name come from the secretariat. People are involved. We do vetting and verification, because in terms of representation to the board, it's not by democracy, because there is democracy fine, but also there must be the right people. The UBL and others, there must be people with the right skill in terms of experience and qualification. So you cannot, for instance, if you don't have the background of finance and also you don't have certain qualification, you cannot just come and say we elect and we just elect like that. So just like a parliament, the people who go for election must have equivalent of senior 6. I mean, there should be standard. Yes. So we had that standard. So the secretary, first of all, tries to vet, and we get the right people. So in that sake of 27th, the executive committee had July 27th, we had about 5 people. We had some members of the board who had been there, and others, and we had about 5 of us. And for me, because I had been a member of parliament, and had played a big sort of contribution in terms of the new act, the midterm and all that. Some colleagues said that why can't you represent us on the NSSF board? And initially I thought it was a demotion, because in the past people had been like my colleague
who attended the meeting.
No, before the meeting.
Before the meeting,
people he told me that you are a member of the board. I mean, Honorable said most of the members of parliament had been sometimes in NSSF and then they come to parliament. Now, for me, I was saying I've been in parliament. And you demote me, even if I have not gone to parliament, do I have to be in this? So I remember my brother, Honorable who was the Secretary General of the other side, he said he has been on the board. But now, because he's a member of parliament in the local constituency, there's no he can go back in the board. So he came and begged me and said, we needed someone senior in that board, and you have the. So he said, but I thought about this sort of thing, and then I said, okay, it's okay. I consulted my chairman, and he said, maybe it is fine.
How long did it take you to think about this?
Maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. So finally, when the ordinary meeting came, the society had been vetted, and we had about 5 people who could qualify from the people who were interested. And during that process of SEC, even the meeting of actually started from the executive board, we had requested myself, my deputy who had already been there. This was she was already been there. That sister Penina had already been there as a member of the board. So myself. Then there's another member who had also been a member of the board sometime called
at the time of this ordinary meeting, Penina was already a member of the board.
Yeah, was already a member of the board.
Okay.
So for her, she wanted a reappointment. Then there was another man called Dr. Isaac. He was also a member of the board. Then another man called Nelson had been a member of the board of the area board, but this other one, he was not. He was the 10th board, no, the 9th, but wasn't a member of the 10th. So all those names were looked at. We had a total of 5, and so we all sent out. The executive board discussed, and then they zeroed on my name, and then they returned the lady, because we had to have one woman. So they told the lady, I think the lady, yeah, she was the only one who were interested out of the name member. So for her, she had that advantage. So she was returned, because we had to have.
She was a
member of the board. So I was the new person. So my name and hers were forwarded to the SEC.
To the SEC?
Because the secretary, it is the board that the secretary brought 5 names. The executive board looked at the 5 and removed the 2 and said these 2 are qualified. They took the 2 to SEC. And then they also told them that but in the executive board there were 5 names. So I've done this and this, and we zeroed on 2. And for us, of course, in the executive board, because we were conflict of interest, we were told to go out. Even in this meeting, we were told to go out, and then the SEC had to say, okay, we adapt to these 2, or why did you leave out the other 3? Maybe we take the 3. So we came back, and they told us your names have been taken. So what happened? Letters are drafted, and then I signed, just like I've signed 5 times. This was now my 5th time to submit names to NSSF. The 4 times I was not part.
Yes.
This time I'm part.
You are part, and
now the other lady who I was going with had already been there, and I already signed her earlier.
So you signed for her
also as part. So 2 people we nominated. The minister considered these names and appointed. But when the names came on the in the media that people have been appointed. Some people said, hey, but now we are not involved. They said, but SEC has been called and everyone was aware. Some of them attended, but somehow I think you know politics. So this we again had to convene another emergency SEC. Now you can see that same year, now this time on 8th of September.
That is even after, that was after appointment by the
minister. Because we had a meeting of whereby we have nominated. When the names come out, some colleagues raise issues. They said okay. So we called the meeting on 8th because they had gone on social media and all that. So we called the meeting on 8th of September to resolve this, among other issues. This would also be one of it. So they came and presented. I remember Brother Wanyama was there in the executive board, Aaron and all that, even Keno. They came and presented. And then, of course, finally the SEC, after analyzing the whole matter, they agreed that their petition was frivolous because actually there had been a process and some of them even had attended the other meeting. And then it was resolved that this matter be rested. And that was it. So they even agreed that, if you look at the minutes, they even agreed that the petition no longer, they even said it for the spirit of brotherhood. What they did was even wrong because they had written a lot of negative things in the press and the matter ended there. Now, we were shocked recently when the same people resurrected the same matter, and they were the same people who are not, you can see, I don't know whether it was a coincidence, the same people who are, again, who had been not paying affiliation, they are the same people who came up recently. These are the people who said, when I was called at Parliament, they are the same people who came up with negative views. Remember, there was, when I was called and there was a data exchange and all that, now the same people. Then people wonder, because we had a SEC before going to Parliament, and you have not come. Now you come to Parliament, you are not even subscribed, and then you are attacking us, and you are being even bring up, even you are trying to say that I self-nominated a girlfriend. But this lady who had been in the what?
In the board.
In the board. We have no relationship from Western Uganda and from Eastern. During the other nominations, you not complain.
Why is it
in the 10th? Now 11th, you are even saying that she's my girlfriend, but she has been in the 10th, and you are part of it. And then even the same procedure, my brother like Wanyama has been on the industrial court. Because we don't only nominate in the NSSF, we even do industrial court. The same procedure we're using for NSSF was the same procedure we even used for him to go to industrial court. But no one has complained. So the question was, okay, the procedure we're using for us is legal, because even the NSSF Act was saying should nominate, even it was not required that we should have meetings. But we even have gone the extent of having meetings. Why is it that this particular one is having issues? That was the challenge, because we have used it throughout. This is the 50th time. Now, why are you making a lot of noise? And you are making noise because Dr. Lyomoki's name has gone, and you are saying self-nomination. But the same Lyomoki has sent names 4 times. You have not questioned. Now the 5th time you are saying I don't have the I'm a secretary now. I'm the CEO. So why do you say that I've made a mistake to write a letter to sign when I've done 4 times and there's been no question? And 2, you are trying to bring a lot of blackmail on my colleague, who is the Deputy Secretary General, who has been already there. This is the 2nd time. You don't complain when we nominate her in the 10th. Now you are bringing issues on when you are in 11th. Number 3, your issues came up and we resolved them. Why do you keep quiet? Then 1.5 years later, you now resurrect them when there is a contention, and then we are getting information that you are being funded. So we realized that this was some scheme. You know, when you are trying to, if you want to bring issues in the house, I think people look for those who have either have been having issues and whatever. So I think someone who did this was smart enough. He tried to say, no, but now there are people who have been complaining, who had a petition. Let's look for them, because this petition were taken to NSSF, they were taken to Labour, they were taken to Minister of Finance, and I think they were resolved and they were not brought into consideration. So for you to bring the same things, like in law, it's called double jeopardy, because you brought these petitions and the matter was resolved. Now you wake up, you keep quiet. Now 1.5 years later, when there is a contention in the country about NSSF, you come up and you say, we are having a challenge. That means that people say, but where have you been? First of all, Dr. Lyomoki and the colleague have been there for 1.5 years. I mean, for 1 year. You have kept quiet. Why do you come at this time when there is a problem in NSSF and there is a lot of mobilization for and against investigation. So that's why we concluded that I think there is some other malicious thought in all this process. And you could even see when we went to the committee, you would find that they had already been there earlier, so they were so aggressive, more than everyone, you know, you could find that, and then they were using negative words, because you see, for me, it does not matter. Because I'm the Secretary General even for all of them. I'm the one even who took one of them to the industrial court when they, I'm the one who signed the letter. Now, if you have issues, fine. For me, I'm a leader of everyone, so you can bring issues and we listen to. But if you choose a method of trying to sort of like negative, a lot of negative energy, you are calling all types of names, you're even calling now, you're even trying blackmailers, the other is my girlfriend, you're trying to, I am a Christian, my colleague is a Christian, our background, even now, we know each, I know her parents, because for her she's far younger than me, and we are respectable people in our profession, a medical doctor, the other colleague is a lawyer with master. So these are really respectable people in society. And then you start blackmailing. First of all, if the colleague was not a member of the previous board, you would even say maybe there's an issue. Why has it come now? But second, if she was maybe someone who doesn't have a degree, maybe some small, then you say, but maybe she was not qualified. But this is a person who even in the previous board, because I remember that time they refused all the nominees. You know, we took the nominees and they were disqualified, all of them, and she was among the workers. She was the only one who qualified for the first time. So the question was, why are you becoming bring issues? But second, if you bring issues, why not bring them in good faith, in a brotherly manner? But you're bringing a very with a lot of energy, black camera. That was the challenge we had.
Okay. So, Doctor, because these people who you say blackmailed you.
Yes.
Because they went earlier to the committee before you came. Was this enough for you to judge this committee as a biased one?
No. You see, the challenge we had. These are things that I thought we are not because usually it's not good to raise these issues that put a problem on us as a center and the workers. But the reality was that. This committee now we are going to the committee at the end of January. But this negative shining had started from around Christmas time, the time when the president ordered the investigation. So there was a lot of negativity.
And you supported the
investigation. And I was the only one like this in the board, and the president agreed with me. So some people were not happy. So they had put up a lot of things in the press, blackmail. They had even tried to leak some information. You know, we had written a program for, I had come up with an initiative, my colleagues, the workers, on what was called the, a program which was called the financial literacy. Because we had realized that people who retire and get pension from NSSF, get that benefit, retirement benefit, they sort of, they get their money when they are 55 if they have stopped working. If they are still working, they get, 50 if they have stopped working, if they don't have a job. But if they are still working, you can get your money when you are 55. Now, we had realized that most of the people who get this money, within 3 years, they have used all their money. And the way they use their money is in a manner that is not useful to them, because some of them don't have houses. So they try to build houses, and by the money is finished when they are on at like ring beam. So they don't even, so the person ends up, he has put all the money in ring on the house, and the house is not used. We also had some others who do start a business, then the business collapses and cannot survive. So we had addressed that point a bit by giving what is called the mid-term. So someone can get a man at 45, and if you start a business, start when by 25, you have already done something. So we had, but we said, why can't we do what is called financial literacy? People can start understanding that for you are and you have not built a house, maybe you might not want to build a house of 1 billion, or maybe you can build a house, maybe a smaller one.
So people would invest wisely.
So such people have some knowledge, that type of thing. So we came up with a program which was called Financial Literacy Program, and the board, we convinced the board to give 400 million to cost 400 million to not. We also later on realized, because we did a pilot, some of this money we released money about 100 million. You
convinced the board,
yes,
to provide 400 million for Noto
and 400 million for Kofto.
Kofto.
In August, we decided to release, out of the 400, we released 100 each to do a pilot. So when we did the pilot, like for coffee, we did the market vendors, drivers, we had the workshops and many other activities. But later on we realized that whereas we have many unions, we had worked with about 4 or 5. And some of the unions were raising issues that, but now we were not going to involve us. Number 2, we do not have clear, what are called the KPIs, the key performance indicators. Because NSS wanted this financial literacy also to have a component where you even increase on coverage, so that more people join, because the law had been changed whereby now every worker now is a member of a national social fund. In the old law, we used to have only employers who have more than 5 who would contribute to NSSF. Now every employer. And then some of the employers, when you look at the statistics in terms of people paying URA and pay as you earn, you realize that it's like 30% of the employers who are complying to NSSF. So there are people where some people were deducting workers' money, but they were hiding. So we had to agree on a formulation that is going to do financial literacy, but at the same time you're adding value in terms of competence, I mean the capacity of the members in financially, but also you are trying to support NSSF in its mandate of coverage and also in terms of compliance. So we added those figures. So because of that, and because of the pilot were done, and they also need what are called the key performance indicators. We established what is called a framework. Where should we do this? And then we also came up what was called the memorandum of understanding. Have you seen the point? So we said the release of the additional 300, and we can even improve it to more, would be able to cater for in such a manner that you have to achieve even the aspects of compliance and the coverage. But then the question arose was that if you provided 400 million and already 100 has already been used for some sort of pilot, you are remaining 300, we have additional areas that we need support. For instance, immobilization is different, because if you are talking about talking to workers, sensitizing them to join the NSSF, and also it's also a different thing. You might find that to make a member join, you might not go there once, you go there several times. Number 2, we had the problem of technology, because in the memorandum of understanding, we had said the 2 million members of COFT we could find out how many of them are already members of what? NSSF. So that those who are not, if for instance out of 400, maybe 100, out of 2 million, maybe 200 are members of NSSF. Then the 1.8 must automatically find out how we convince them to become members of NSSF. So we said we needed a digital platform, because we are not digital. So we said we needed that digital platform, and then we also needed the support in terms of mobilization, but also we did support in terms of what is called the corporate social responsibility, because we saw that there are people, like if you look at, for instance, the market vendors, for them, they are not employed, they are self-employed. Yeah. Now, their issues are different from our issues. For them, you are saving money, maybe you want to save money for Christmas, you save money maybe for if someone dies, or that type of thing. So we needed to add additional sort of benefits. So we said, for people like market vendors, let us come up with a product. For instance, we said we can support women who sell tomatoes. We started something that is doing tomato sauce, a process, value addition, so that a market vendor will know that I will have my tomatoes. If I know that they might get rotten in the next 3 to 4 days, I sell these tomatoes I put them to value addition, and then we have our product of tomato sauce. So it was on that background that me as Secretary General, I wrote a letter. The letter I wrote, I said, we have a framework, and we've signed the memorandum of understanding with NSSF, and we have already used 300 in August. That was the first quarter, because that was the first quarter of the year. There is a balance of 300, but we are also suggesting. You
used 100.
So we are also suggesting.
For the pilot.
We are suggesting that you give us 600. Remember, I said 200 for technology, 200 for mobilization, another 200 million for social corporate responsibility. Now, out of this money, only 300 had been agreed. Now, the other one, 600 had to go into a process of either they will refuse or not. Now, because of this confusion in NSSF, this letter was leaked to the press. And then they started saying Dr. Lyomoki has got 1 billion. you know, that was now the mobilization on the platform. How can Dr. Lyomoki take 1 billion? And he has illegal activities, which even the second has said. Now that was the time. This is team trying to put that on the what? On the social media. And then even I remember even some papers even wrote about it. Even this online media wrote about that Dr. Lyomoki even has got the 1 billion. Even that was illegal. We don't approve. So that was the type of, so by the time I got the committee, 2 things happened. One is that the committee had already believed that type of, that if there was no meeting, there was illegality, and then you could say that they had believed that type of narration and sort of falsehood. But secondly, we also had on that committee a colleague of mine who, because we had been with him in Parliament several years, and who had been mobilizing against me, and we had issues. And one time, they came to us, and he had wanted us to fund them to go to ILO that time last year in June. Now, because Parliament didn't have the money. So as a board, we said the bill was going to be big because to support all the workers MPs needed almost 500 billion. And then the board, so we were going to use almost 1 billion into this, going to Geneva just. So we turned down the offer as the board.
Just to attend the conference.
Now, when that proposal was turned down, there was a speeding within the workers' front end that Dr. Lyomoki, because he has issues with this colleague, is the one who turned down the what? The offer. So there was like, now we shall see, there was that member. So that member.
The funds they wanted, was it also part of the money you were?
No, this is different.
This is different.
This is because the board has its own money. Now they wanted the money to come from the board budget, because the board budget has the money for travel and others. So we said, no, but now if all the money for the board for the year is going to go into this, and that would be unfair if we just travel and whatever. Now, but that one was taken badly in the workers' community by my colleague. So now that colleague was on the
committee.
And then from our political intelligence, he was the one who was trying to fund these people with other people. So already for me, I knew that there was conflict, because there's a conflict of interest. And then also Marisa first thought, because if already, someone, the day we went, already someone had said that I had sort of nominated myself to the committee, and I was, even with my girlfriend, that thing was there.
To the board.
That was blackmail. Yes, now, and in the committee, so there was that type of, so we wrote a letter and said, since we have issues with a colleague on that there is a conflict of interest, yes, and the speaker had not responded to us. And when I went there, I could see that the way the committee handed me over, they even said, you cannot talk because you're a member of the board. Then they said, so there was sort of, the thing was not good really, the first appearance. So we said, I think there's a problem here. So it's when I went back, that's when we wrote a letter to the speaker that what we have experienced is not good. A lot of disgrace, even the people being put under, saying you swear, fine, swearing is okay. But, you know...
Did you write this letter as the General Secretary or as Dr. Sam?
No, as the General Secretary, because when I went back, we met as my chairman and others. They said, no, I think this is not unfair. They were being, even the whole sec. In fact, the whole sec said we cannot go back because they are taking us as criminals. They're even saying there are CIDs here, what you come here. So it was really very serious, you know. These people had gone genuinely, and then you were taking them outside, you are even warning them, you are saying if you do this one, we shall arrest you. People said, no, this is intimidation, what is it? So so when we went back, the people were so unhappy. So they said, no, doctor, I think you're right, and draw the attention to the speaker about this, because I have been a member of Parliament for 25 years. What happened was I have never done such a thing. I have chaired the committees, and so I, in good faith, because we wanted the good information to come out, and I had a lot of information. So I was like burning to give my information to the committee. So, but I did want that aspect of conflict of interest to be there. So I wrote in good faith. When I wrote in good faith, the committee misunderstood me. When I went back as a board member, they told me that I should withdraw. But I said, of course, I was like, I'm putting my colleagues under a difficult situation, because it's okay. Maybe I judged them wrongly to say the conflict of interest, but I mean to say they are, but if my petition has not been legal and responded to, I cannot be told, and now I've come as a body member, now to tell me that I should withdraw. I said, no, I think it's not right, because...
So you would have withdrawn if you had come as a member of COFTO?
No, but in any case, I had consulted. So even to withdraw, as COFTO would have had to consult each other and say, now what do we do? But now you get me as the one person, Secretary General, and now I've come as a board member, I should withdraw the other thing, and I'm alone, I cannot consult. Now I said, really, how can I? Because my writing the letter, I wrote as a CEO, as Secretary General. How can I come and withdraw? It means that I've personalized the whole thing. I cannot just come here and tell me to withdraw because the letter came after consultation, even we put it there. And you have not responded. So I was put under of course I could understand the thinking. I mean, sort of you see the, what can I say, the colleagues, I mean, maybe maybe I say maybe you are not happy with them, but also I was also constrained. So I decided to leave it at that, and I said, okay, I think if maybe I have not been given a chance, because I had come with a lot of, because I had been a member, a lot of information that I had been a member of, I mean a chair of SAGA, that's the staff administration of cooperative affairs, and there were a lot of issues that I thought I would also assist in terms of volunteering information. Because we had loved this investigation since I was among the people who had pushed. We had written to the IG was already investigating, and the Auditor General, and the new Parliament that was adding in terms of, so we really appreciated, but the way the whole thing was handled, I think we had some bit of...
So when you left, you asked the committee to avail you with some time to meet them without that member who you accused of conflict of interest. Did you get
no, they didn't give me that time, and I never met them.
When the Speaker referred your letter, or the letter from COFTO to the committee, was that enough response? No, I was not aware of that as referred, because for me, I never got information. But the committee read to you no, they were reading, but now, because when we were writing the letter, we even gave copy to the committee chair. Okay. So we didn't know how he had got it. Is it because of his copy? Is it because, and the letter had been written to the what? To the chair. Okay. So, and you see what also happened was, even after denial of that opportunity, we said, okay, just for purpose of support, we can even give some of the information, because there are some information that requested when they were talking there. So we wrote a letter and gave that information. Okay. But when it came to even the recommendations, and even when you look at the narrative within the report, they ignored all that. It was a one-sided narrative. Because, for instance, they even never referred to the fact that we had the meetings. They never referred to whatever was in. Even my colleague who was there, because for her she was not sent out, the other colleague, the lady, she, as a member of the board, she even tried to clarify a lot of things. But all those things, if you look at the report, no one has written about them. So you could see that we had that challenge. Of course, I'm not trying to blame the committee. I'm not trying to, but I'm trying to show you really, for me, from my thinking, you could see that I was disadvantaged. What I can say from your thinking is that what you forethought was proved. No, of course, I mean from seeing, because if I give a complaint, you don't respond, then you just even throw me out. Because I was putting myself in the shoes. If I was the chair, because I'd been there for 25 years and I chaired committees. If I was on that committee and the chair, and you come and tell us that your committee is biased, I will prove you wrong. I will say, okay, you give your views, and you see if we are biased, and we should listen to you. I will not chase you because I will not be, because I have the power as chair. Now the person who is coming to be listened to is the most weak, the most vulnerable. So I cannot throw that person out because the person is coming to give me information. In any case, I can refuse the information, I can take it. But I give the person a chance because everyone listens, and then and that one, the person will, even by being able to give me a chance, might say, maybe I was wrong, maybe this committee is not biased. But if you don't even respond even to my question, because what I would have done if, like for instance, where I am in the NSSF board, every meeting is what is called the conflict of interest. Yeah. And when there is conflict of interest, it's a must that you must do what is called the choose yourself. You come out of that meeting. That's why even when we were meeting at COFTO, when they were discussing the matter concerning us as the nomination, they told us to move out. You cannot be in that meeting because there are things that people you know, it's always that's the corporate principle, the corporate government principle. But the other point I wanted to make is, yes, if I have raised issues about a colleague and who is a friend, but I think he has a conflict of interest, because conflict of interest is not like he's your enemy. You just said there is someone who has some
bias, so who are some, who is even a friend. And you are not doing it from a negative, you are doing it from a positive. You wanted the due process to be seen, because if your people are saying the colleague is doing this and this, and then you say that person should choose himself from the committee, and then the person does not go out, then you are not allowed. Then, of course, you start questioning the narrative, whether it was biased or not. I mean, was it fair or not? I mean, so for me, that's really the question that has come up.
So, Doctor, now leaving that aside,
yes,
under what circumstances would money be drawn from an account of COFTO?
No, you see, the way money is drawn from an account of COFTO is if the Constitution provides that monies from an account are given for that particular purpose. And before you even use that money, you even get that money and put it in another account for that purpose. So that's what we are following as COFTO. In terms of the, for instance, this corporate social responsibility, we actually wanting to open a separate account for it. But because this it was a new venture, the money came on the general account when we started it, because this was the first time. So what we did was to draw cash and hand it over to a program officer. And then that program officer was able to run. And the good thing that since I was the Secretary General, there were the people in the program office, the accountant, who would initiate, and then whatever, then the thing would come to my office, then I sign it, goes back, and then to the accountant who pays. So we had a very good principle in terms of the way money should be utilized. The only thing we had not done for this particular money was that we had not opened a special account, and actually that is what we had agreed, that for the next 3 days we are supposed to have a special account, so that, because if you are putting the money on a general account, you are mixing up money with many other payments, and what will happen is that some of payments could come up and they can even eat the money, because if some money has day to come and then this one is there and then there's a payment, can easily eat up the money, and yet this money had a very strict we needed to be a strict accountability. It had a very strict sort of performance indicators, and we didn't want to mix up with other things. So, yeah. So on our side, we thought, first of all, this was a very good program, but we also thought that if we deliver very well, because we had even told the fund that this money is literal, because if we are to recruit, because the National Social Fund has been, now they have 1.3 million workers, about 600 something, these are the ones that are active, and about 600 dormant. So if you are talking about recruiting up to about 2 million, and you are doing financial literacy, we are giving an indicator of 1 million, and then we are giving another group where we say even additional product. This was a big thing. So we knew that with time, we are going to go into certain other decisions. For instance, trying to maybe increase the funding, trying even maybe to second, because maybe staff, because you see we have that policy within the NSSF whereby you can even get a staff 1 or 2 second the centers, and because this was going to be a very, very powerful way of trying to improve social security and coverage. Because for us, that is our niche, and we have the structures. But in NSSF, their niche is social security, but they are not. They have a challenge of organic linkages with the grassroots. So for us, we knew that even when we do that work, that is our work, because the mere fact that workers have joined social security is good enough for me as Secretary General. If I can say, this year we have brought on board maybe 200,000, just as an example. NSA would be happy because their numbers increased, but even me, I would be happy that I have assisted 200 members. I've supported 200 members into the product of being insured. I mean, sort of having security under the social security fund. So, to me, this was a very, very powerful and important thing. But now the challenge that came in, as I said, was the spinning. Because when this letter was picked, it picked the sort of that negative narrative, and then a lot of questions started coming up of that. And the people were asking questions. They did not have the concept. They don't have the memorandum. They are not even knowing the way the money was going to utilize. Some of them, I remember even I got letters from unions saying that give us 80 million, give us. Then I said, no, this money, all of you actually, because the first program, the pilot, we concentrated on some of you unions. We concentrated on markets, we concentrated on drivers, we concentrated on women, because we had even a Women National Congress, and then other meetings, and then we had some national programs which went into regions. National leaders going to sensitize. Now, we had even now improved and said, in order for us to have better accountability and visibility, we established what we called a coordination committee, which was comprised of general secretaries and the chairman of the women committee and the chairman of the youth committee. In the recent SAG, some members said bring also the chairman of the unions on that committee, which was called to be coordination, because they were saying, according to the framework, we had to put more emphasis on informal economy, market vendors, but the other unions were also saying, no, let us be part of the bigger committee, so that whatever money comes, we are part of it, we know what is going on. And then when it comes to accountability, they do it, and then finally the accountability will pass through us, and then it is taken to NSSF, even if they were not requiring the accountability at that time. So we thought, one, we had good structures, but number two, we thought the pilot had assisted us, because we had lessons on how to improve, because before the pilot we not have the general secretaries committee, but after the pilot and after given the what we picked, where general secretary saying, but now my union was not involved, then we said, oh, maybe what we would have done for this general secretary, maybe it was good for all unions to be part of a bigger meeting. Then the information can go there, and you can justify why maybe his union is not involved, or why, even if it's at what level, because some unions do not have already, their membership was not big enough. So you cannot say that if market vendors are about to 1 million in the country, and you have another union, maybe like a university, which is maybe university professional, maybe about to 10,000 members, and so most of them are already unionized, you might not give the same money and effort to university than to the market. So those are things that we thought the problem was the involvement. If every union has come and participated even in the implementation, because when this idea was generated, in one of the SEC meetings, we had told them that we are coming up with a certain program, a framework of cooperation, but we did not tell them the details, because SEC, according to the policy, you give the strategic direction, you don't go into the details. So they knew that we were doing something, but they didn't know exactly what it was. So, but the secretariat knew, where I chair as the head of the secretariat, we knew the details, but we were not given all the details to SEC. So our intention was, immediately we get approval, because initially when we were starting, it was not clear whether it would be approved. So when we got approved, our intention was now we take it to the SEC, and the whole process, now we give them the whole details, which we did, I think, in the last SEC, all the details. That was the timing. But by that time, already there has been a lot of negative. The unfortunate part was the fact that this type of process coincided with the issue of the MD renewal and all that, and the investigation. So this type of good program was like overtaken and overwhelmed by the other investigation and all that, and then people picked some of the issues here and tried to put them into the narrative.
So, Doctor,
yes,
did you withdraw 100 million from the account and channeled it to Dr. Penina?
No, that's why I was shocked, and actually Madam Penina was shocked, because she never got involved in this money. Her role was to, when the programs have been finished, her role was to receive, and then through her, because we wanted to have some bit of chain, she's my deputy, then it passes to me.
So she received the money?
No, she never received it. Her role was to receive the sort of the accountability. The way the money moved. Myself and the Treasurer General were the signatories, and the Chairman General.
Why is it that the 400 million was linked to the 1.8 billion, which was disguised as a corporate social investment? No, you see, and that's where the problem came, because what happened was that during the process of approval, because you see the law provides that the board shall pass the budget with the approval of the minister. Now, approval means there are a lot of things take place, because if I say you are the one to approve something, what is the process of approval? How do you handle approval? That means that we shall write to you technically, because we cannot just talk to you. These are figures. Are you talking about approving or initiating?
No, I'm talking of approval.
Approving.
The issue was, the law says the board shall pass the budget with the approval of the minister. So it means that the budget is initiated by the management and whatever it comes to the board, and the board takes it to the after. The board has a minute. They write to the minister, the chairman, saying this is the budget for this year. I want you to approve. That is what the law says. So, and that's what we follow. So in the process of the approval, the minister had some issues that she raised. She said that you are not giving emphasis to certain activities that do with the recruitment and mobilization of members to join the fund. Most of the programs were on investment, and so she guided in the meeting because when the letter was taken to her, she had additional information she wanted. That's what we are told, because this was not between the management and the chairman who was representing us. And you see, the chairman cannot go without the management, because the management is the one which has the details. So they go there, and then the minister tells them, I need more sort of information. So they provide that information. When they provide that information, they had a meeting, and finally, according to what we heard, was that they agreed that what the minister was raising was legitimate, and therefore there should be reallocations within the budget. The budget was about 220 billion, what is called the budget for operations. Now, so the minister writes to us, back to the chairman, because the chairman had asked for approval, and in the process there was been some meetings and all that. She writes to us and says, following the letters and the meetings I've had with them, I'm accordingly approving the budget with the following modifications. So she tells us we should modify 6 billion should be given to certain activities because of mobilization and all that. So that letter comes. Now, for me, having been in parliament and understanding the process, for me, when that letter came, I understood that that letter was an instrument. Because how would you have liked the minister to approve? Because approval, you do what? What is the instrument of approval? Do they say you go and the gazette or what? For me, because if you look at the past, all the years, the Minister of Finance and whatever has been approving through a letter back to the chairman. So when the chairman, the minister writes that letter to the chairman, I understood it to mean an instrument of approval. But that instrument of approval had a variation where she was recommending that there should be a modification in terms of reallocation. That was what the minister had done. So for me, it's okay. You have approved, but also you have done modifications and whatever. So let us come back to the drawing board as a board and we see what to do. Unfortunately, that letter was picked, and then it was put in the press and the social media, and they were saying that the minister was demanding for money that she has written to us, demanding for money to be taken to our ministry. And now that thing had two challenges. One, the letter the minister had written was not a letter from her initiation. It was a response to a letter the board had written requesting for approval of the what? The budget. The budget. So she was doing her mandate of approval. But in that approval, she has given instruction, because when you approve, you can even refuse, you can do what? That's number one. So you are calling it an instruction. You are already saying, even she has made a message to comment on 26. So my question was legally, what would it was supposed to rubber stamp or what? So for me, technically, I saw from a very independent point of view that the minister was trying to do her job to do approval. But now already there was a lot of spinning and negativity. Then number two, you are saying, the minister is saying, give her money. In that letter, there was no such a thing. The minister just wrote and said, with the following modifications, give 6 billion within the budget to this and this. So you are already saying the minister wants the money, so you are saying that she has said take the money to her minister. But there is no such thing in the letter. So already you are adding certain things. Number three, you are already implying as if the minister was saying the 60 billion is going to come from, to be in addition the 220 billion for what? So it's like you are telling her that as if the minister has told us that look for more money. The minister talked of reallocation within the 220. So she has not added anything. She has just tried to tell you to guide you. Now, when the board started discussing and the management, we realized that what the minister was talking about, because one of the things was saying engagement with the stakeholders, we realized that already we had already catered for about 1.8 within that category, because already the 800 to the unions were already part of that, because if she's saying the unions are stakeholders. So we interpreted and said, oh, out of what the minister is trying to say. For her, she's talking of reallocating 6 billion, but already, when you look at the program, already 1.8 is catered for that.
The breakdown
is already there. So we said, oh, so they said, okay, which means if there is already 1.8 already, if we are to allocate, we have to allocate, if we are to make 6 billion, we have to allocate 4.2 because already 1.8 is already catered for within. Because when you read her, it said activity 1, 2, 5, or maybe 6 activities. Activity number 1, she's talking about, but it's already here. And it's, like already we are dealing with social, we are already doing financial, and financial class already and all that. So that's how we understood now. But as we are doing that, the wave caught us with us. People are saying, how have you given 1.8? Now, this 1.8 was not yet, initially, by the time we gave 1.8, we were not even aware that the minister would raise that later. So 1.8 was not part of the 6 billion. Because already we gave it independent. But when the minister writes, we realize that no, already 1.8 is what she's talking about when you interpret her later. We already have given 1.8 towards what she wants.
For 4.2.
Yes, and then the 4 point, and then she was saying there are some wasteful activities like workshops, which talk about 10 billion. Then there was something like branding, advertisement, and promotion, which took like 7 billion. So we knew areas where we could cut. So as we were trying to do that, we said, okay, what the minister has raised is good enough. What can it be cut from where? But now the other challenge that came up was that the public had already been told that the minister wants 60 billion.
Information was diluted.
And the spin, actually, they could that change it. And there was a lot of misinterpretation for the schools and all that. And so we are caught in that wave. A seemingly good venture, because we had already done it, 1.8 already, from if you look at the ministers, you interpret the minister, and we need just to improve. In fact, there was even an argument within the board and within the even the management that even if we cannot reallocate to the tune of 6 billion, we can still even reallocate to maybe 3 billion, or then we write back to the minister, because the letter she has written as approval is not written in stone. It can still be verified. So we said if there is any challenge, suppose we realize maybe what those activities, maybe 6 billion is too much, but we said we can still write and say, okay, Honorable Minister, you have requested that we allocate 6 billion towards these activities already. When we looked at our budget, we had 1.8, and we have done further reallocation. Maybe now it has come to 4 billion, and therefore we request that you write for us a new instrument saying that 400 is only 4 billion. That's what the debate which was going to take place. But when we were trying to meet and also try to, because the minister had also told us to work with management to make sure that we have a sort of like a timeline and a detailed program of activity implementation plan of this, how we are going to do now in 2 activities and the management and all that. All that was caught up by the events, and now the spinning, and now this became like people are calling it an illegal money. People are saying that this 6 billion was going to be shared between the workers, Dr. Lyomoki, minister, and the new MD. You know, all those things. So the whole thing was a lot of mixed up, and it was demonized actually, to the extent that even people started not wanting to associate themselves with the 6 billion because the population had really misunderstood it. They had sort of said this was a very bad amount money. You know, the minister wants to take this money. And however much people could be, even I saw the minister trying to explain. I saw even the board. I saw, but people already the mindset had been set. So that's really the challenge that we had with that. So
that you have cleared that.
Yes.
But now I have only 2 questions. Then we leave.
Yes.
How many times? Had NSSF, you said you had a memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
But how many times had NSSF financed activities of COF2?
Now, and that was also another challenge. NSSF had funded the activities of COF2 for the last maybe 10 or no more than 15 years. Because what would happen, they would fund COF2 and they would also fund NOTU. They fund COF2 and that's why you saw a mix-up. Recently, when the Speaker and the Parliament was handling this matter, there was that 200 million they were talking about. Then they also talked about 400 million and 80. You remember there was a big sub. So the current amounts that were given to COF2 and not were 100 million in August. But then in Parliament, you saw some people were saying that, because when they were saying they have given 100 million to COFTA and 100 million to NOTU, that's 200 to the unions. Other people were interpreting that actually it's 200 to each center. Remember, you know, because if you say 200 now, they know that you have summed it up. And then others even said in December. Because the reason why they were giving December was because the money, by the time it was given in August, the MD, the former MD was still there acting. I mean, was still the MD. And his tenure ended in the end of November. Now, people were trying to link this payment with the acting MD because they were trying to show that for us we were pushing the acting MD. That was the type of narrative. That's why they were trying to talk of December, because December means it is the acting MD who was giving you the money. That was the type of thinking. So the reality was that the money was received in August under the former MD, and it was 100 million per center, but the 300 for each center was still there. That's number one. Number two, in the last many years, maybe 10 or so, COFTA has got about 300 or 400 million in the last 10 years under what is called corporate social responsibility. Even NOTU has got the same amount. But we have got the same amount, which has also more money, which has gone to MT and social responsibility, which has given Parliament and others. So the question was, why are you talking about the money of the centers and not the other organizations? Why can't you say what a list of all organizations, including Parliament, who has received money from NSSF? And if you are saying, if you are talking about a list of those organizations, then you ask for accountability. You don't, before you go to pay back, refund. Why do you want to refund? First of all, find out that money went under what arrangement. Number two, if there was no requirement for accountability, why can't you demand that there should be accountability? Number three, you say failure to account, people take liability. And that will sort out the matter, because you come to COFTA to have accountability, not to have accountability. Now, you start saying that people should refund, and the people you are refunding, you are refunding to people unfairly, because the way the money is withdrawn from centers and all organizations, you're either the signatory withdraws or someone you have delegated. Not to have delegated some young officer. COFTA had not yet delegated, because COFTA is a young organization. Now, you are punishing this officer in NOTU who has been delegated, someone called Viola, and you say he should fund 400, but her role has been always, she goes and brings the money. Then you say, you know, and then for COFTA, because an officer has withdrawn, now she should refund. Why can't you say, let there be accountability first? And then because the Parliament gives you recommendation and guidance, so you can say, failure to account, they should refund, or the people who have either participated in misappropriation or whatever should be held liable. Very simple.
Maybe they are crucifying Viola for conspiracy.
No, for me, I'm trying to show you that it's so unfair, because for me, I know how the whole thing works. It's very unfair for you to just say, because Viola is the one who has picked the money, and that person has just picked as a refund, and then should refund. That's really unfair. And in any case, it's been unfair to say even there should be refund when NOTU and COFTA have run activities. What you would start with is to say, let there be accountability. Now, and then if there is no accountability issues, now I'm not blaming Parliament. What I'm trying to say is that the recommendation for them to say there should be accountability, for them to say we should follow up this money was good, because for me that was really a good eye-opener for us. The only challenge I'm seeing is that you have only talked about two organizations, but you have even organizations who have taken even more money, MTN, as I said, and others, even the Parliament. So what you start by saying, let us know how much money has gone under CSR, because CSR is a good company. You cannot demonize. If NSF gave money to either whatever institution, they have done it in good faith. But for you, maybe you have a question mark. So you would say, no, okay, two things can happen. One, let them account. Number two, if you feel that if customer is not good, let us stop it. You cannot do it retrospectively. For me, that's why I think that from a corporate governance point of view, that's what you would do. You first of all ask for accountability of the past, and if there is no accountability, liability. Two, if you think the concept is good, for me, I think that concept is good. But if you think it is good, then you will say, let us modify the modus operandi. Now, this time we should be giving this amount, maybe we should do this, we should not. You can guide. Number three, if you think the whole arrangement is not good, then you can stop. And instead of starting from this year, that's the end. And people will implement. But when you go and you jump on refund, already people say, why refund? Where are you trying to victimize? Are you going, because the whole process of investigation, of guidance from Parliament are good processes, and we really thank them, because if you look at the way the commissions have come, they are eye openers. Even where there is a modification of the recommendation, that is a good thing, because it had not occurred to us, first of all, as the fund, and also the institution, that there should be some accountability. Because if you have given CSR, I think it's a good practice to ask those people, can you write to us and account to you how you have used that money? But if you just give the money, and then I think it's not good. So, and that was the procedure. So for me, I saw that was a good addition to the account. But secondly, maybe sit with the people and say there should be certain guidelines. And that is the attempt that the NSSF had done by the memorandum of understanding. So they were giving issues, and then they were even providing that there will be by annual, every 6 months, there will be a meeting between the centers and the NSSF to look at the accountabilities and to sort of like see what is it. That was a new addition which we had already put. And then they were saying that each party can rescind or revoke the memorandum with a notice. So which means that COF2 or not had they could even write to NSSF, we don't want this money because maybe it's a or not even the NSSF itself had the power to say now we have stopped giving you the money after the notice. So we had tried to do certain things, but maybe we could do better, because usually in terms of checks and balances, there's a need for people to sort of have structures, and also have to report, and also supervision. And then also another thing which was very important, which really had come up, was that if you are having members of the board, like for instance myself, and I'm also Secretary General, and we discuss this thing, what do we do? Because myself and the deputy and we are the signatory, why can't we maybe in terms of this funding, we try to allocate another officer who will be the one to even write letters, because for us, we are the ones who are in the board. So if we are here in this one, we already had seen that, and we had said, I think we should stop getting involved. So that, I mean, in terms of writing, okay, I'm the Secretary General, but we had said maybe we could even delegate, and when it comes to these matters where I'm involved, we can look for another officer to be involved in that, and we can give them the power to write. Those are all things that were coming up. So even by the time the recommendation came, we had already thought about them, and for me it was like in good faith. Okay. The only challenge was that a lot of people were again getting that, because if you have done something good, this money has the motive is good, in fact the purpose, but maybe there was lack of information. Maybe we lack certain additional sort of like processes. At this stage, the most important thing is to improve on the state. But if you come with a mindset that there should be refund, I think that's where the problem comes. And then other people take advantage, and then they are saying, now you're having people also, because of dynamics and politics in the organizations, institutional politics, and then people are saying, oh, this Dr. Lyomok should be impeached, that type of thinking, because it means that you are trying to bring a lot of, you are trying to misuse, take advantage of in bad faith. I mean, a recommendation of Parliament, which is good for the institution and for all of us, then someone wants to take advantage and sort of misuse it. Finally,
Doctor.
Yes.
The report recommends that you and Penina leave the board. And on top of that, it concludes that the 12th board should be dissolved.
Yes.
And so that means all the
thing, and also the minister.
Yes, and also the minister should resign.
And then some members of the top management should get set aside.
Yes.
Okay, now, yes, you are right. But you see, in terms of those recommendations, they don't. It is not us to take action. Those recommendations is supposed to be government. So for us, because you see, when the recommendation of Parliament, after they have resolved them, they try to sort of like fine tune them. Then the clerk writes to the respective executive office or department, and then they implement. So that is not my question really, because I'm not the head, I mean the minister, and now the minister is also supposed to resign. So I think for me, I don't want to comment on that. The only thing I would say that it's a bit a very big type of recommendation, because if the minister is supposed again to you are saying the board should resign.
She's the one.
Then you disband, then she's also supposed to retire, I mean to resign. And then you are saying even the executive, the exco, that is the top manager should go, there will be a lot of vacuum there. So for me, it's not immediate because I'm not the implementer, but of course, I think that there will be some bit of engagement to find out what can be implemented and what is it possible to implement, is it not possible. And for me, that's really a debate that I didn't want to go into because I'm not the implementer really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Doctor. I think we have exhausted.
Yeah.
Maybe we shall keep on looking for you if there's need be. But I want to thank you for the information and the time you've given us as UBC. So we shall use this information accordingly whenever events arise. Yeah, so I want to thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I just want to thank the Parliament for this piece of work they have done, because they have added value, because now there are a lot of areas that I see as reforming. We also are waiting the outcome of the IGG and the Auditor General and also other institutions, and I think all this will assist us to improve on the situation. When I say us, it does not mean me as a member of the board. When I say us, because even whether I'm a member of the board or not, I'm a Secretary General of a centre, and I'm part of the tripartite, and this is as workers. So it is really work which is going to assist the board, to assist even the centres, to assist even the government, to make sure that, and also the workers, because there are a lot of recommendations that we think, like for instance, there are issues we have been dealing with, like in terms of the investments, like Robowa, workers are sort of cannot afford those investments, and yet you find the workers are renting. Like for instance, if you are a younger worker, you need a house of about 100 million, I mean 100,000 per month. At the end of the year, that's 1.2. And in 10 years, that's already 12 million. No, it's 1.2 in a year. If you're paying 100,000, and in 10 years, about 12 million. Now, we have been struggling and saying, can we find a way we can have an affordable housing unit, so that instead of a member, because if you work and you pay 20 years and you're paying rent, within 20 years, you are paid the rent, but you don't have a house. And yet you can use that same rent to do mortgage.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are saying, why can't you have a product where workers we can support workers to use their rent and turn it into a mortgage. So that if then I see maybe my house, I need maybe a house of 200 or 500, then we get a house of that nature. We find out how much so that your monthly rent becomes a mortgage. So we think that NSSF can be able to assist this, because we have been having a challenge especially in developed countries, where the return on capital is more than the return on human resource. In developed countries, the money that goes to the human resource is 70% goes to human resource, 30% goes into capital. But in Africa, or like Uganda, 70% goes to capital and 30%. That's why you have low salaries. Yeah, so, and you can only have bigger salaries if you change the other way around. So we think that NSSF, because we have big amounts of money with us, and we're also working with the workers, we can be able to participate in that debate to see how we can sort out those distortions in the labor markets and also in the economy. And also try to assist the workers be able to have products in terms of social health, social insurance, but also in terms of housing, also in terms of medical insurance, in terms of other products, many products that can come out of this, and the workers can benefit. So I want to thank the UBC for this kind opportunity to give this information, and also to engage. And also want to thank the ministry, minister, the president actually, for having allowed this investigation, and also the NSSF board for what they are doing, the management, acting managing director, the other members of management, and the workers of NSSF, the general workers, to say that thank you for the great work you are doing for development, but also be able to be part of the National Security Fund.
Thank you
for your future.
Thank you. At what percentage do you think the savers fund is safe?
No, I think for me it is 100% safe, because
Thank you.
With this type of investigation, you find that because investigations of this nature, they sort of like prevent future challenges. So, and when you find even what the investigators are trying to do, the money that could be wasted is not the principle. It's about the money that is the interest, the operation, because that's the area that what has gone into housing, into certain investment, what has gone into operation. But the other money, which is the 17 trillion, the biggest proportion is already in investments, and so it's very safe.
Thank you.
So for me, this is 100% safe.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.